evening. My name is Richard Wexler, and this is Caring in America, the podcast for caregivers and care recipients. And we have a great episode this morning with a guest I'm about to introduce, Matt Shadle. After completing his undergraduate studies in psychology, Matt went to work serving vulnerable populations, working as an advocate for at-risk youth and adults with developmental disabilities. In the course of working with administrators and beneficiaries of Medicaid services, he developed an interest in health and public policy and went to work for the state of Colorado in the field of healthcare regulatory compliance. After 8 years in the public sector, he earned his master's degree in health services administration and moved into the private sector as the director of health services for a senior living community. As a retirement counselor, he guided prospective residents and their families through the important decision of transitioning into a retirement community. Matt finds true fulfillment in applying his background, education, and experience to assist seniors and their loved ones in his role as a senior placement specialist with Gentle Hearts Living Solutions. Matt, are you there, sir?
I am here. Thank you, Richard. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to our podcast today, sir.
Thanks so much for having me. Been looking forward to it.
No problem. So, I want to talk about this placement industry, which I know fairly well, but want to start by asking you some questions. Hopefully that's going to really educate our audience. You know, what I'm seeing is more and more senior placement agencies are opening. And, why do you think that's happening? And then how do you and your agency set yourself apart?
Sure. Thank you. So, yes, there's been, a relative explosion in the presence of senior placement agencies and specialists like me in this field. And we're obviously here because there's a demand for us. We feel there's a increasing demand because there are more and more seniors moving into the senior living space. We all know that baby boomers are aging to the point where they're starting to consider their retirement living options. And with that growth comes more availability. There's more communities springing up that promote different levels of care and services and amenities. And man, it can really be a maze to navigate all of that and find a good fit for you or for a loved one that is going to meet their needs, fulfill their life, and be just a good next step for them. So I feel like there's so many folks like me out there now just because our services are needed. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say interesting, and I totally understand it. And folks, we've talked about this a lot. The numbers I use, there's about 110 million people in this country over 50, and as Matt knows well, we have almost 80 million baby boomers moving north. So I can see why the need. I mean, it's still 71 years old. I'm smack in the middle of the baby boom generation. We played with yo-yos and hula hoops, which I've talked about. Now, all of a sudden, we're the ones potentially moving to senior living communities. So what should a family expect from a placement agency, Matt? And I'm familiar with different agencies out there. Some have more of a hands-on approach. Some have more of a hands-off approach. I mean, what should they expect, and what's your philosophy?
Sure. The Gentle Hearts philosophy is really to join families and seniors on this journey of making a decision like this. And that's the case no matter where the senior is transitioning from. So, we work with a lot of folks who are in the hospital, they're in rehab setting, and the advice they're getting from the clinical professionals is that, discharging back home or to your previous, home is not the safe option for you. You should consider senior living options. The other, most commonly, is folks still living at home who are in a lot of ways doing just fine at home, but they and their family are planning for that transition. Regardless of where the resident is coming from, they should expect a really personalized journey with their placement specialist. So some things we do is when we first meet a client, we develop a really detailed profile of them through an assessment of not just their needs, but also understanding what their preferences are, their priorities, what they value most, what their goals are for this phase of their life. And we achieve that by really spending a lot of time meeting with seniors and their families. So we are, as soon as we learn of a new potential client, we are meeting them in person. We are going where they are and making sure we really start to understand what it is they're looking for. We, along the way, educate them on the levels of care available to them in the community. We start sharing what we feel might be a good fit in terms of a community. But really, we leave that first meeting with a lot more work to do. So, after our discovery is done, we tap our resources of the communities in the area, and we start developing a short list of communities that check a lot of the boxes for them. And we're not just flooding the zone with referrals. We're not just emailing referrals to communities that might be in their geographic area. We are planning tours at communities that we feel like will be a good fit for the senior, but also for the community. We insist on accompanying our clients on these tours. We want to be there to make sure good questions are asked. We want to be there to advocate for the seniors' needs. We want to be there to lift up the community and help their team highlight what it is they do best. And then following these tours, we are sitting down with clients and we're doing follow-up visits with them. We want to see what they learned during those visits, what lingering questions they may have, and take their feedback, and perhaps it's consider more options, or maybe it's whittle down the options we've already established and focus in on a few. Then when they have chosen a community, an agency like Gentle Hearts, we are happy to accompany them on contract signing day. We are happy to meet with them ahead of time and review these complicated contracts to make sure they're comfortable with the contents, and then we will facilitate any negotiations or questions they might have. And then when it's time to move, we are right there with them, providing moving assistance, either personally, or connecting them with our senior relocation specialist here in the area we work with. And then once somebody's settled in their new home, we know that the work's often not done for them for their planning. So we want to make sure that we're available to them after the fact to refer to realtors, elder law attorneys, Medicaid application specialists, whomever it is in our network of professionals that might continue to assist them on this journey. So, and then the last thing we do is we follow up periodically after the move with both the client and the community to make sure both parties involved are satisfied with the process and happy with the outcome.
Now, that's excellent information, and that's a lot of information and a lot of, talk about hands-on, hands-off, that's a lot of hands-on services. And you may know, I talk about this a lot on my episodes, this dirty four-letter word called plan that people hate, because I'm wondering about some of the key factors families and that seniors should be thinking about. Because what I talk about all the time, let's make up a scenario. Let's call this individual Mary. She's in her mid-70s. She fell, she broke her hip, she got through surgery, she's now at skilled nursing. I know that's a place, as you said, you may meet people, and this whole idea of the key factors she and her family should be thinking about. Can she really go back home? Can she bring a professional in the home? How much is that going to cost? Should she go back home by herself? Or when she gets discharged from skilled, should she go off to a community? What are some of those factors they should be thinking about?
Well, boy, the list is long, and that is why we do what we do, because trying to understand these factors on your own with a loved one or you yourself as a senior, it's not something you think about every day. It's not something you plan for in most cases. So that's when we come in to help them with the factors. What some of those are is understanding the level of care that your loved one or the senior requires. Um, we know that it can be independent living with maybe home care. It can be assisted living, memory care, skilled nursing. There are many different levels across the continuum. And really, before we embark on touring communities or honing in on a decision, we really need to understand what this senior's level of care will be. Gentle Hearts is owned by a husband and wife. They are both registered nurses, Nick and Michelle Sales, and I'm happy to be a part of this team because it's small enough where they can assist me. I'm not a nurse with interpreting seniors' histories and physicals, understanding their complicated and in some cases multiple medical needs, and give me guidance on what level of care they feel this person may need today and down the road. That's one factor, level of care. The other is, of course, the costs of these services and what budgeting concerns that people need to consider. We help folks with guidance on what to expect from different levels of care in terms of the monthly service fees and costs of care. And then if budget is a concern, we start to explore options through their insurance, through Medicaid, through vet benefits, and so forth. So that's the early conversation and one factor to consider. The next is an obvious one, location, families and friends, local hospitals, and other amenities. It's important that those things are convenient for the senior and for their family. So we want to understand where in the community they hope to live and use that as one of many factors. Another is the quality of care being provided out in the community. I think we'll talk in a minute about the services and amenities that senior living communities are integrating into their offerings. A very important factor to consider is the quality of care being delivered in those beautiful places. So that's something we help folks understand. The safety and security they should expect in these communities, the lifestyle and social activities they should expect. Just the look and feel of the environment is a factor to start talking about. The list goes on and on. As you can see, it's a long list and it can be a confusing one. And we just help folks understand these factors, start to prioritize, and just begin to educate them.
That's amazing. I'm sitting here thinking about my example with Mary in her mid-70s, who's now in skills. She's probably going to be there for 3 or 4 weeks as she moves from a wheelchair to her walker and so on. And everything you just said is fantastic. And I'm sitting there thinking, if I'm her son, if I'm her husband, whomever I am in the family, it doesn't seem that complex. But everything you just talked about, there's so much thought. That's why I talk about this dirty 4-letter word called plan that needs to go into this. So you as that senior, you as that family really understand what is the best move for the Marys of the world. And you kind of read my mind talking about the latest trends in senior living communities. I'm talking about the different care models and amenities. And this isn't 1980 anymore. There's a lot of technology out there. What are you seeing?
You're right. Well, technology I'll speak on in a minute, but really what we see and what we share with our families is that these communities are really offering customized care plans for their residents. They want to tailor their services to the unique needs and preferences and goals of their residents. They're offering that because that's what's expected. That's what this next generation expects from their senior living communities. And so communities are offering personalized activities that draw on the interests of their residents. They are offering really interesting, farm to table style dining options. They are providing wellness programs that are, developed by professionals and delivered to people at all levels of their physical health. So in addition to that, communities, especially, we're seeing a lot of them here in the Treasure Valley in Idaho, they are providing or offering, I should say, a continuum of care in their community. So what we mean by that is that they offer a range of services, usually independent to assisted living to memory care, all under one roof or on the same campus. And what this allows people to do is age in place. Folks can receive just enough care or support to remain as independent, active, and vibrant as possible, knowing that someday, if they need a little more care, it's right there for them. The transition is relatively seamless, and they don't have to uproot their life again to get those needs met. But to your point on technology integration that we're also seeing in the industry, telemedicine has boomed, of course, and through the COVID pandemic, it was leaned on big time to keep patients in touch with their healthcare providers. That only continues, and our seniors are increasingly tech savvy and willing to utilize this technology. But what's important to know when you're evaluating communities to move to is what their capacity is to assist the seniors with those services. So are they themselves knowledgeable about telemedicine options? Do they have the availability and willingness to sit with a patient and make sure their visit gets started? Do they have the capacity to help with any follow-up that's required after one of those visits? It's just an adjustment that residents and communities are going through right now to keep up with it. Seniors are also wearing wearable health devices more and more, and for their own tracking. But also, communities are adopting them themselves because they find that if they can remotely monitor residents' vital signs and sleep patterns and things, they can effectively respond to changes in conditions and just generally keep a closer eye on the health and wellness of their residents. Smart home features that we're all familiar with, like the Alexas and smart lighting and things, that's being adopted widely too across communities. They see opportunities there to better respond to resident concerns, to just generally monitor their day-to-day a little more effectively and keep them safe. And so, safety monitoring systems are also advancing and being adopted across senior living communities. Fall detectors, GPS tracking for those who may leave a community without a particular plan on how to get back. These are really addressing safety concerns and just making it easier for communities to monitor health and closely support their residents.
This is a lot of fantastic information, Matt. I mean, folks out there, one thing I talk about a lot, Matt certainly understands this, so many people don't even realize all the services. And Matt's talked about a lot of things that they're doing and offering for the seniors and their families that they work with. It's incredible. So I really want you, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, when someone gets to this position in life, hopefully they have planned, but when it does make sense, instead of doing all this work yourself or going on the internet and trying to find the right community, I want to talk about that in a second, finding the right community. It really makes sense to work with someone like Matt, who really is an expert in this field and can really guide the senior and guide their family, and talking about the right community. Everybody's different. So I'm sure some communities aren't right for one person where they'll be right for another. I mean, what are the potential consequences if someone is maybe moving into a community that's not right for them?
The potential consequences are many, and that's why we spend so much time getting to know these clients and understanding their needs and their goals and preferences. That's why we do so much work on the front end. And I'll pause just to say that another thing I really enjoy about being at Gentle Hearts is me and my colleagues doing this. We are afforded the time to do that important work. Just how things are structured We do not rely on commissions or high fees from our partner communities to pay our bills. We earn a generous salary, and because of that, we are empowered to really spend time getting to know our clients and helping them make a well-informed decision, and not just rushing to get someone moved. So what are some of those consequences we try to avoid? One is, we would hate for a senior to move into a community and experience a decline in their physical health. That can happen if the community is not equipped to meet their needs, or that it's just a poor match in terms of their level of care and what can be offered. And another consequence to avoid is potential depression or anxiety over this move. We would hate for a resident to move into their new home and have it make them anxious, have it make them feel isolated or frustrated. And that is why our seniors are central to the decision-making process as much as is practical, and that they are as well informed as their loved ones on, why we feel this sort of move needs to take place. And we hope that they move into their new home not anxious or depressed about the decision, but looking forward to the next chapter for them. There can be increased behavioral concerns for folks with cognitive impairments if they move into an environment that maybe isn't the right structure for them or have the right programming for them. Loneliness and isolation can occur if someone moves into a community that does not effectively welcome them and integrate them into the larger community of their senior living. If someone moves somewhere where they are not, their self-worth and dignity is not promoted, they may lose a sense of identity, and they may withdraw into their home and not have a sense of purpose in their life. We would hate for something like that to happen if it was not the right move for them. And really what we hope to see with our clients, no matter where they move, is that there is a rebound, so to speak, in their quality of life and in their health. So often we encounter clients who are still living at home and are getting by day to day, but their family and they themselves or their spouse are concerned that they're seeing a slow deterioration in their health and in their well-being and their mental health, for example. And so often when we help make a good move to the right community for them, they get settled there, and we see that their mood improves, that their appetite improves, that their engagement with their neighbors is something that the family had not seen in years, that their overall outlook and well-being improves. So really that is our goal, is to not help someone move somewhere that just gets by for them, that just keeps them safe. We want to help them make a decision and move to a community where they thrive.
Again, that's fantastic information, folks. And as we get ready to wrap up, I do want to ask you, and I know this is kind of a broad subject, but in the couple minutes we have left, can you really help people understand the difference between independent living, assisted living, memory care, and residential care homes?
Mm-hmm, sure. Well, folks living in an independent living, senior living community, they are generally, safe behind the closed doors of their home. Of course, there are degrees to this, but they move through their day with very little assistance. They choose to engage in activities and events around their community as they please. They, in many cases, still drive, volunteer in the community, etc. And they choose to access services and amenities when they like. They're there to enjoy those things. Moving into an assisted living community, folks are beginning to need help with one or more activities of daily living, whether that be reminders to take the right medications at the right time, at the right dose. Maybe they need hands-on assistance to safely move in and out of a shower. And then at the other end of the spectrum of assisted living, it's folks that maybe need extensive support with their activities of daily living, 1- and 2-person assistance with getting dressed or getting bathed or ambulating, for example. So what's beautiful about the assisted living setting is folks really can age in place there along a wide continuum. Moving into memory care, they offer specialized programming to serve folks with Alzheimer's, dementia, and other cognitive impairments. The spaces are secure, meaning that folks are, they can access the greater community without being accompanied by family or team member, and team members are alerted if they do choose to open a door and move out. But more so, just as important as the secure nature of memory care communities, they also provide specialized programming for residents with dementia. Their teams are specially trained in that service. And then you mentioned residential assisted living and board and care homes. And that's such an interesting concept, and one I think that needs to be utilized more in the Treasure Valley. Certified care homes are 4 or fewer beds, certified by the state to provide care to really a wide range of recipients. In many cases in this area anyhow, it's family members caring for their loved ones in their own home. Their loved ones could have a range of health concerns that they're addressing, from assisted living type services, but also folks maybe living with a traumatic brain injury, mental illness, or folks that have developmental disabilities. These are small residential settings. It's the home of the provider, so they are right there with their loved one or their client. And it offers a great alternative to the bustling nature of some larger assisted living and memory care communities. There are also small assisted living communities that are usually bigger than 4 beds, but not more than about 12. That's also residential in nature, but provides the same level of care as an assisted living and is subject to the same rules as a more conventional assisted living community. Now that I think right there is where we have the opportunity in Idaho to grow, is to provide that quiet, home-like, intimate setting for assisted living residents who may not feel like a large community is right for them. It's just I think the homes are there, but it's just operators choosing to serve that population of seniors who want that environment is just, I think, an opportunity we have. I wonder if that's the case around the country as well.
Matt, again, this is fantastic information, folks. I really encourage you, listen to this, pass it on, family, friends. A lot of information in the last 30 minutes or so. I mean, this is golden for a lot of people to really understand there's someone like Matt out there to help. There's guys like Matt and ladies like Matt around the country. It is a fantastic service. As we do get ready to wrap up, Matt, if people want to reach out to you, what's the best contact? Is phone number, email, website? What do you want to give out?
Sure. A quick Google search of Gentle Hearts Living Solutions will take you straight to our page. You can learn about our team, and all of our personal contacts are right there on the site. So you can learn a little bit about the small team we have, small but mighty team we have, our backgrounds, our history, and feel free to reach out that way. We would look forward to hearing from your listeners and helping where we can.
That's excellent. And folks, as I say on every episode, if you want to get in touch with me, you have a question, you have a comment, you'd like to be a guest on the show, best email eldered2023@gmail.com. I want to thank Matt again. And as I do on every episode, folks, until we talk again, have yourself an awesome day.